Hey guys, welcome back to Bixby's Beer Reviews. So wonderful to see you here again. There's a nip in the air outside, and that wonderful holiday of Thanksgiving is right around the corner. One of my personal favorite holidays. I love the food, love the family, love the get-togethers. Certainly love the pies at the end. And it's in that spirit that I'm going to bring you a couple beers this week that'll maybe help you think about how you're going to set your Thanksgiving table. So today we got a beer from the Precarious Beer Project down in Colonial, Williamsburg, Virginia. I believe this is the first of theirs we had on the BBR. We've got Black Cat Path. As the name implies, this is a beer came out right around Halloween, but I think it's perfect for this time of year because this is a pumpkin porter. One of the kind of roughly three approaches to pumpkin beers that we talked about when we did our Dogfish Head Pumpkin Ale, but it's one that I wanted to focus on because it's one of my personal favorite ways to enjoy a pumpkin beer. So as befits a proper dark pumpkin beer. This one made with hundreds of pounds of real pumpkin. As I said, it's a porter. It comes in 6.5%. Not too intense. Sometimes you'll see bourbon barrel aging put on these, but not today. Also has, from what I understand, some pumpkin pie spices. Don't know exactly which ones, but I tend to think it's probably the cinnamon, nutmeg, and clove approach that a lot of places do. So wonderful sounding beer. Sounds like a nice slice of pie at the end of a meal. So let's crack it open. Take a look. I know we haven't done a whole lot of dark beers yet here on the BBR. I promise I'll get to them as the weather turns cold. We're going to get all the cutting edge, new, crazy stuff they're putting in insane barrel aged beers. We'll also get some of the more classic, toned down styles for, weeknights and whatnot. Anyways, let's take a look at this porter we got here. As you can see, very, very nice, fluffy head, rich, persistent. That's something you want to see on a porter. The beer itself, black as night. The tiniest little bit of light getting through in the bottom. That's often a feature you'll see of lighter porters and stouts. Nothing wrong with that, but very, very dark. And again, that beautiful, persistent head showing we got a really proper pint here. So that's what it looks like. Let's give it a smell. A very sweet pie-forward aroma. Definitely getting a lot of cinnamon and cloves up front. It's bringing me right to the pie table at the end of the meal, but also getting not a little bit of pure pumpkin there. This past weekend, I made some pumpkin cookies because I had a jar of it left over in the fridge from the farmer's market, and when you open that up and you actually smell the pumpkin, it's a wonderful smell. It's kind of squash and kind of something else. I think it's a really unique flavor on its own, and as you can probably tell, I don't think a pumpkin beer really pulls off its effect unless there's real pumpkin involved, and I think you can tell when there's not. So that sort of that slightly squashy, slightly gourdy, but ultimately kind of sweet note of pumpkin is in here too. Wonderful smelling beer. Let's give it a taste. So in contrast to the aroma, the more beer forward notes are what show up here first. It's a wonderfully balanced and richly flavored, but ultimately dry porter underneath all those spices. I'm getting about equal parts of a sort of dark roast coffee, and then not really a baker's chocolate, but a sort of a semi-sweet chocolate, not fully into milk chocolate. And those are kind of the two notes that you really want to have from a good porter. The pie spices sort of show up in the middle, more restrained, which, again, if you remember back to our pumpkin beer episode, I think is a good way to do that in a beer. Too much spice, even in a richer porter or stout, can still have the unintended effect of coming across as very sharp, or very acerbic, or kind of dry and almost high in the palate in a way that isn't very good. So restrained spicing, but it still lets you know what's going on. And ultimately, again, just a little bit of sweetness from the pumpkin. It's not as dry as a good English or American porter often is, and I think that's to its benefit to help carry both the pumpkin flavor and ultimately the pie impression through. So really, really enjoy this one. Now, sometimes, as I said, breweries like to go bourbon barrel aging with their pumpkin beers, and I think ultimately maybe that can put a little bit too much in one glass and not let you really enjoy some of the subtleties of the spice or that wonderful sweet flavor of pumpkin that I really enjoy. So wonderful beer from the folks down in Colonial Williamsburg. Hopefully we'll have them on the cast again soon, but hopefully we'll see you again on the BBR next time. Like I said, I got another fun Thanksgiving themed beer for you coming up in a few days, so make sure you tune in to check that out. And until then, bye now.